One spark plug fouled, and the other 7 were good. And this plug came out of this cylinder right here. And just for the heck of it, we thought we'd see if we could just spin the engine over by hand, and this is what happens. Oh. That can't be good. Yeah, it just stops. Yeah, so something in there's broke. Hey y'all, Bob with Million Mile Garage. We're just getting the exhaust header off before we pull this head. I'm sure you guys are dying to know what happened here. I know I am. You get this dipstick tube out. I think it just presses into the block on the bottom. Yeah, it's going. You got it. There she goes. All right. Piece of cake. And Austin got real lucky. We didn't have any problems taking the header bolts out. Of course, you see we got studs here because that's where the bracket to remove and install the engine is. Yep, those just come right off. Boy, look out on that deal. Right on. Okay. The world's most restrictive exhaust header, but probably also the most long-lived. I think those were stainless steel. Good stuff. Okay, that looks pretty terrible. Yep, you can see where that one had water in it. That one actually looks like it had a little water as well. I'm thinking both of these were maybe partially blown, even though the plugs didn't look too bad. Crap, there's water everywhere. All of these have water in them, a little bit. That's kind of weird.
That's not good.
No, it's not. How about that? Huh.
Oh wow, look at this.
Yep.
It's coming off in one piece.
Oh yeah, easy peasy. Yep. Metal gasket. Good stuff. All right, next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna, we've got a box, I don't know where we set it, up there. And we're gonna use that, and we're gonna take the rockers and push rods out, and we're going to make sure that we take them out in order so we know where they came from in case we decide we're gonna reuse any of this hardware. Okay. All right, take that. Yep. Bring it over here and set it. Yep, just like that. Okay, set those just like that. We're just going to take and just to kind of keep everything in order. Okay, so now driver's side, front, we know that's intake and exhaust. Yep, there we go. Cool.
That's on there. Oh, the bottom one's not as bad.
And the bottom ones definitely seem to come off easier.
Yeah, these aren't as difficult.
Yeah. How do the valves look? Ooh, that's ugly. What happened there? Isn't that weird?
Look at the valves.
Oh, you got a big hole in the cylinder head. I wonder how that happened. What the heck is that? What is that? Something came off. You know what it almost looks like? It almost looks like a connector. But I see marks here. You see the ridges there? It may not be. I don't know what that is. Did we actually drop something in the engine when we had it apart? But whatever happened here, see how it's welded to the top?
Yeah.
See how it scarred this piston up real bad here? If we come over here and roll the head over again, see that? Boy, that's weird. What the heck? But there's a hole right there. It actually punched a hole.
So that's where the coolant was coming from.
So the coolant actually leaked through the cylinder head. And that's probably, and maybe it didn't lock it. Maybe what we were feeling is when you're rolling around, is the top of that piston hitting whatever that F.O.D is.
Don't want to get a screwdriver so I can pry it off?
Yeah.
Pliers.
It's like, what the heck is that? Whoops.
Or do we leave it on there so when I hang it on the wall?
You know, I'm just looking at these ridges right here. That's so bizarre looking. It's like, what the heck is that? I'm just trying to think of where that could have come from.
Is that a clamp for a hose?
We were missing a hose clamp, weren't we?
Well, I told you I thought I dropped one inside of the intake, and you told me I didn't.
Okay. That might be what happened. Boy, that's unfortunate. But I'll bet you what, tell you what, if you get a wrench and put it on there, I'll bet this thing will turn over no problem now.
I told you I thought I actually dropped one in there. And maybe I didn't, I don't know. I think I did.
You know, that kind of looks like, but where's the rest of the hose clamp? Did it actually just spit it out? That's bizarre.
But I put like 500-600 miles in the car before that happened, so I would think that would have happened sooner.
I don't know. Beats me.
No.
We'll find a wrench, we'll get it turned over. All right, let's see if it'll roll over now. Yeah, turns over no problem now. I'm just looking at the other cylinders that aren't damaged, and you can still see the crosshatch marks. That's almost 250,000 miles. And I bet you if I went in and cleaned this carbon off, I bet there's not even a ridge worn in these cylinders. But this one, okay, we got some heavy damage right here. So I guess whatever was in there that it ingested. And Austin, you're thinking, what did you say? You said you dropped the hose clamp in the intake?
When we were putting the upper back on,
Yeah.
the hose clamp fell, and you told me it fell on the floor, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure I just watched it fall on the intake. And you're like, no, it fell on the floor. So we kept putting it back together, but I'm pretty sure a hose clamp fell on the lower intake.
Well, that sucks. The only thing that sucks now is, you know, it's hard to tell how bad it is, but when you can feel it with your fingers, especially with gloves on, it did damage that cylinder, but it doesn't look like it cracked anything. I think the reason all the coolant was getting into the engine is because we actually punched a hole in the cylinder head with a hose clamp. And I can actually see, matter of fact, if I rock this around, I think you can see the water come out. At least I can show you the hole right there. Yeah, that's definitely a hole. It actually pushed, you can see where it pushed it through right there. I'm actually seeing inside the water jacket. Yeah, so it destroyed that cylinder head. Now, cast iron, if you live somewhere or if you had access to an oven, you actually could get this up to temperature like really, 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 really hot. And that could be welded and repaired, but that's for our purposes, this is beyond repair. That's a problem. The only solution for this is to get another cylinder head. And we're gonna have to overhaul the engine because it looks like at least one cylinder is gonna have to be bored over pretty good. I'm gonna say that's gonna easily take 30 over to fix that. 20 to 30 over, probably not 40. If we could get 30 over pistons, that would be great. The less you have to mentally remove, the better off you are. All right, so I guess that solves the mystery. That was, I guess, the remnants of a hose clamp, and I guess the rest of it got ingested and spit out. So the head gasket was doing just fine. Isn't that some shit? So that light knocking you were hearing when we first started, it was probably that hose clamp bouncing around in there. Unbelievable. Well, it didn't destroy the engine. It definitely, it hurt it. But if you were going to overhaul this engine, I'll tell you what though, that is sickening. I mean, there's just, you can still see the crosshatch in that. That's 250,000 miles almost. This engine could have just been taken apart and re-ringed. You know, just a very light cylinder hone. And unbelievable. I can still see the crosshatch. Wow. Yeah, okay. So, unfortunate. I'm going to say that was a self-inflicted wound there, unfortunately. Wow, I've never seen that happen before. That sucks. All right, well, we got some work to do. We already know the bottom end's going to be fine. So, and it had oil pressure. So yeah, sucks. Austin wanted to overhaul the engine anyway. So I guess he accidentally on purpose dropped a hose clamp in the intake. Not. All right, so I guess lesson learned, when your son says he dropped something in the intake, take him seriously.
Take the 40 minutes and redo the intake.
So it is upsetting, but it's also a relief that obviously it's hurt. Yeah, and that scoring's bad enough. You're not going to clean that up with a hone. That's definitely going to have to be bored. But look at this, just where the engine coolant boiled the ridge off, or the carbon ring. There's absolutely no ridge there, none. Unbelievable. Kind of sickening. You got to do that to this engine. You know, numbers matching car. Just like I said, you know, we religiously changed the oil on it from day one. I never really hammered the car that much. I drove it for work. Dad drove it. Actually, my mom drove it a little bit too. They're both in their late 70s now. Dad bought the car new. And I think I had changed jobs. And I had just bought Laura a new car. So this was around 2001. She had a small four-door. I think it was a Hyundai Elantra we bought. It was our first new car. And I didn't want to put a lot of miles on it. And Dad had somebody at work that wanted his Mustang. He was kind of done with it because I think it was probably around I guess it was basically a 16-year-old car at the time, right? Dad always took care of his stuff. So this is original paint. This car's never been repainted. He garaged it. He used to put a car cover on at work. That's what I used to do with my stuff as well. So the car really had a charmed life. And when I needed it, I used to put about 140 miles a day on it, close to. I used to commute from Indian River County down to Palm Beach County. I did that for like, I guess 2 years with this car. So I think in a very short amount of time, I think within 4 years, I think I put about 80,000 miles on the car. But it was all, you know, it's got an overdrive and it's got, what is it, 273 axle, 276, whatever, 270 something axle. So it used to loaf along, you know, 75 miles an hour. I don't even think it was turning 1800. So yeah, what a shame. This thing would have easily gone probably another 100,000 miles. But hey, shit happens. And that's not the end of the world. But I tell you what, that is, that's one for the Ruts record books. Never seen that before. Well, now y'all know. We'll I don't know if we'll do it in this video or not, but we're gonna go ahead and get the rest of this thing torn down. I don't know if we're gonna do it today or not, but we definitely got our work cut off for us. We're gonna have to find a good machine shop. We don't want anybody to ruin the block. Boy, what a shame we got to bore that over. So yeah, it's gonna be kind of expensive now. You know, we're gonna have to bore all the cylinders. It's gonna have to be new pistons. These were forged. We're probably gonna go hyper-eutectic.
Gross.
Because those they don't have as much, I guess you don't need as much sidewall clearance, right? Because they don't grow as much. So probably less of an oil burner. These things, when they were new, they always burned oil. But yeah, we'll talk about it. We definitely got some work to do. And since we got to buy cylinder heads, why don't you guys leave a comment in the comment box and tell us what you guys would use for cylinder heads, because we definitely would like to wake this little motor up. Since we got it apart, we may as well put a better set of heads on it. The goal is we'd like to squeeze another 50 horsepower out of it, naturally aspirated, and put it back in the car fresh, and then he's got something he can probably drive for the next decade. Thanks for watching Million Mile Garage, or maybe Three Stooges Garage. We'll see you next week. And again, hey, leave a comment in the box. Tell us what you would do with this thing. It's looking like we're going to have to probably go fresh set of pistons, bore it 20, 30 over. Cylinder heads are junk at this point. We got one good cylinder head, and these were marginal breathers anyway, right? So yeah, we'll see you next week, and thanks for watching.